What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I know I've been missing in action for quite some time. I was traveling, didn't get a chance. I was actually in Costa Rica last week. Wanted to bring the video of that car too that we had, but I was with a couple of my buddies and the car was kind of filthy on the inside. So I didn't have time to clean it and then bring the review. And I didn't want to bring a filthy car review. But the car that we had over there was the Mitsubishi ASX, known here in the US as the Outlander Sport. We don't pay that much attention to that car or that brand here, but over there, very common, and that car was a 4x4. If you've been to Costa Rica or you know anything about it, great people, beautiful country, horrible roads. So that car was actually a trooper over there. Anyways, going back to this video and the purpose of this, my very first video on this very channel was of this car, which is my car. I wanted to close off the year with the video of my car after driving for about 4,500 miles. And if you're in the market for an Accord or Accord-like cars, such as the Optima, or a K5, excuse me, or the Sonata, or the now Camry, should you go ahead and buy the Accord instead, or should you drop this car and buy one of the other cars? A few things first. 11th generation, controversial design, so if you haven't been able to come around this design, you might not at all at some point, right? But if you've driven it, if you've seen it, if you've actually sat in one too, it might change your mind and you might be able to consider this. You're not buying an Accord to be fast on the road. You're not buying an Accord to be cool on the road. You're also not buying an Accord to buy something that is a dream car of yours, right? You're buying an Accord because of other things such as reliability, longevity, low maintenance, and also the refined engine choices perhaps that they've brought in and the interior quality, which edges, especially for the touring, it does edge into feeling and looking premium, and I'm not kidding. And if you don't want to take my word, that's totally fair. Go ahead and check it out at one of the dealers, and then you can make your decision, because ultimately, it's your money. You have full authority to use it just how you like it. Now, going back to the price, people say touring is $38,000. Don't go for the touring. Go for the LX. That's $28,000. Now, you can take that and you'd be like, well, the Kia is offering in the N-Line or GT N-Line or Sonata for like $32,000, this, that. Sure, take that money, then compare the quality, go on NHTSA, look at the recalls. To be very fair, the 23 Accord has a recall about the driver's side seatbelt. I have to take that in for that. But if you look at the Sonatas and if you look at the K5s or Optimas of previous generation, you'll see those cars, and that brand just has a lot of recalls. So Honda, Toyota will always be my pick over Hyundai and Kia, no matter what the price of those cars with the options and features those cars bring. To me, I would put these two brands, Toyota and Honda, as a premium brand over Kia and Hyundai, but I'm an individual, and that is certainly my opinion. Does not mean you have to take it. If you have a garbage by you, you can certainly trash that very opinion and do exactly how you feel like. But it is my car. I want to tell you exactly what I like about it, what I don't, so you can make an informed decision if you're in the market for something of this sort. Like I said, this is a touring. This sticker is in now at 38 some, so I think they've dropped $1,000 since I bought this car, but I also didn't pay the MSRP because I knew exactly what I wanted and how I wanted, so I was able to bargain this car for a good price, and I was able to keep myself under 40,000 out the door to making this a touring model, also adding some accessories from Honda, but still being happy with what I have. Now, has this car grown on me in terms of the styling? I have never had any issues with the back, the sides, the front, a little bland, but also known as simple, because if you look at a lot of manufacturers, they're trying to make things futuristic when it comes to how it can compete from 5 years when you see more electric cars. Now, as far as electric cars go, if you look at consumer reports, if you look at any other data from dealers and or consumers or car people, you'll see EVs have been sitting in at the dealer lot for quite some time now, so it wasn't accepted as well, but every manufacturer is trying to compete or bring out an EV car, but we're still not accepting them fully because of the network and also the price point, right? So these cars are still running. Competing directly with the Toyota Camry, now it's a very good comparison because in the lineup of the 25 Camrys, you no longer have the V6 and or a regular naturally aspirated engine, and also the 10-speed that it had, or 8-speed, not sure. But Camrys are also now hybrid, so are the Accords, but Honda still offers 2 trim levels that are non-hybrid, though they are lower trim levels, so you got to compromise some of the things. within that, but the EX and the LX will both be your 1.5 turbo engines versus what you get in the hybrid. What I don't like about the Accord, size. I've never liked it. I don't think Honda needed to stretch this car, making it almost 200 inches long. I think the previous generation was a fine size. The generation before that, my previous Accord, the 9th gen, was also a fine size. But yes, you get a lot more legroom in the back, and also your passengers, if you're hauling them, you get, a decent space. You also get more space in the trunk there too. As far as what other things I don't like, sometimes I do wish that, manufacturers never really brought the CVT engine, but I think Nissan is the one that's basically, effed it up for everybody with the CVT they've brought. But with the Honda CVT and now the Toyota CVTs, they're pretty decent, so it's not bad. With this being a hybrid, and with this, I've put on 4,500 miles in the last 3 months on it, so that means I drive a lot. I'm saving good money when it comes to the gas prices, because they have spiked quite a lot. So that's one thing I do like about it. The car's gone quiet. I'm speaking with a microphone, so you probably didn't hear the engine before, but if you did, it was running on its engine back then. Now it's quiet, but it still is running. I do like the hybrid idea there. What I also hate with hybrids in general is when you reverse the car, there's just whole dancing sound that if you want to be quiet, let's say if you're pulling into your garage at 1 a.m. at night, you don't want to wake up the entire house, you will, because the car is just so loud. So just a few minor things here and there when it comes to hybrid in general. But other than that, I said I don't like the size of the car. The other thing on my touring, I sometimes have hit or miss, and I keep thinking, so do let me know in the comments below, should I black out my wheels or not? The only reason I didn't black out is because sometimes they just look so pitch dark that you can't even see the design. Here, you can still see the design. My car has full chrome deletion at this point, except the wheels are still, silver. I do like the contrast, but I will not powder coat them because that would be matte. I will probably gloss coat them so it matches my windowsill, but which I did delete the chrome on myself. But do let me know what you guys think. Sometimes I feel like these wheels are fine. At least they're not complete flower petal-like, but you can also see a flower pattern at some point. So not super masculine, I'd say, but it's not bad. So depending on how you think, you might end up, thinking more that it is a flower. On the front, yeah, no fog lights. Front has been talked about the most. It's grown on me. It's my car. I live with it every day. I can't keep hating it. I never hated it, but I wouldn't say I fell in love with it. Anything on the exterior that I wish the car had? Fog lights for character, but these lights are so good that you don't need that, and it's got auto beam, so it's totally fine. As far as the other thing goes on the inside, and we'll talk about should you go for it, should you not go for it, it has the capless entry. You guys have seen this car a billion times already. It has the blind spot monitoring system because it's a touring, but I think you can pay $550 extra to get to that. The door panel is fine. I have never used the memory seat feature. I wish I said this before too. I wish that the US market, Honda in the US market gave an option of either taking this or power folding mirrors, but you don't even get that on A-Spec Acura, let alone the Touring Accord. But getting inside, I use it as my daily. You could see I've switched it to Econ because it was running. But for the most part, on the inside, the car is decent, right? And when I say decent, I truly mean what decency is, literally, because it's very elegant looking. This is black. You can get a white interior too, and I'll point out what one of my viewers did point out, which I was like, oh man, I didn't even look at it. But now, yeah, but I'm used to it, and I'll talk about it. Like I said, I'm almost at 4,500, so it's like 44, 438. It can't zoom in that well. Gauge cluster, full digital, nothing exciting here, but it's decent in terms of what info it gives. I only really have CarPlay at all times pulled up, and maps if I'm using Car's Google built-in maps. Otherwise, it just has, something else information, or if I switch to like CarPlay goes to the compass there, so that kind of thing. Other than that, Bose sound system is available in all touring models. Obviously, when I say available, it comes with it. That's what I meant. It's, if I were to rate this, I'd say out of 10, I'd say a 7.5 because it sometimes does rattle in the back. For me, it's the passenger rear speaker that does rattle, so I don't like that, but am I going to hate the car for that? No, otherwise it's overall not bad. It's pretty decent. The US does not have the heated steering wheel in the Accord. The Canadian market does, and I think the other markets do too. Chinese Accords are so much better. They have ambient lighting, they have all the other features, so they always strip things down because they have the premium Acura here to sell. So they want to make sure that they, sell people or upsell like so. Overall, the interior is fairly nice. If I turn the map lights on, you can see it a little better because it's getting dark in here. Controls are dead easy, similar in all trim levels, be it LX coming up all the way through Touring with plus minuses of the options. This is a Touring, so you have the heated seats. You also have the ventilated seats for both driver and passengers. I've talked about every car, even the LX gives you 2 USB-Cs here, just not in the back. This is the wireless charger, but I used it as a cubby because I don't use this. I've talked about all Honda wireless chargers that are basically useless because they have no grip. So I plug my phone in and I charge my phone that way. Overall, great space. You've got 2 cup holders, decent sized cup holders. Here's the key fob, and I've got that little thing to make sure that my cup holders don't get dirty or filthy. But you have also a cup holder there too. You can only really fit a 500 ml bottle there. Otherwise, they are good for other things like clots and stuff. Seats for the Accord don't have any perforation, nor do they have any stitching. Actually they do have very, very minimal perforation, so you don't see it really. But it would be nice if they had some sort of stitching going on like they do in CRV. But the seats don't have much character to them. They're just flat black heater. What I was gonna mention, which one of my viewers did, and I was like, wow, how did I not realize that? When I had the option of choosing the interior white versus black, what it didn't do is give me the black headliner. So I have the black interior, but I have the white headliner. Now, 2 things. I've taken it as a 50-50, half glass full, half glass empty. If this was black on black, it might have made this interior very, very dark, but I've sat in black on black. It'd probably get used to. Here, you do feel as if it's a little open and airy depending on what kind of a person you are. But if that's something that is important to you to have one tone across, then it is not going to be mono. It's going to be your light headliner coming up all the way to, halfway of the B-pillar, and then the rest would be all black. Otherwise, I think I enjoy how the interior of the car is. I do truly love that the Touring of the 11th gen has the normal shifter as opposed to the buttons. I like to rest my hand on here because I'm used to driving a stick shift from before the Accords. And also, I just think this is just easy. Sometimes old and easy and conventional is a lot more reasonable than technologifying anything of that sort. Have not used the EV button even to this date because I don't know the range on it, so I don't want to complicate things. I don't even know if it's going to complicate things. The drive mode I use heavily, and I typically drive my car in 2 modes. The sport mode at all times, and then when I'm stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, I put it on econ mode. I did set up my individual one, so if I pull up here, so sport is this, and then I have set up the individual, but it's kind of redundant because I'd much rather drive on sport as opposed to the individual mode. I do use my parking brake. I used to use it in my previous one too. With me, I feel like I like substance, so I wish that it was a manual, either a hand or a foot, but this is just fine. It does the job, so it doesn't, it doesn't matter at this point. Brake hold, I don't typically use it. Cubby I've shown you guys, I've basically put in, the tray there. This is used daily, so I've got the tray in here, and then the actual cubby is down below. So, and here's my charger that I typically use to charge my phone. I just don't like clunk here, so I always keep it away. Other than that, if you wanted to see or look at the infotainment, I've done a video on this too, but here's your 12.3, 12.9, somewhere under 13, let's call it that, inch screen that you get on all hybrid Accords. The LX and the EX gives you a smaller screen with more buttons here, and what this one does is there's nothing super special about it. I do like the size. It fits the interior pretty well. It's not too big, it's not too wide. It just is a perfect fit, perfect screen. Accords have always been the kind where they test new things. For example, when they took the knob away, it was the Accord that went away for the first car being in the Honda lineup to go away with the knob. Now, this is the only screen for the Accord. I do not think that they have this in any other car. Even the Pilot has a smaller screen. But this is the Touring, so what you get extra is your Google Maps here. So if I click on here, these are the maps that you get built into the car. And what that does is projects it here as well. Only and exclusive to the Touring model. All your other cars will have regular CarPlay. So if you go here, you can go into your CarPlay and you can use those. They will not project onto your gauge cluster. If you're using the Apple Maps or Google Maps within the CarPlay, you will still not have the projection happening to the into the gauge cluster. It will be here, which is totally fine. You can, continue using that. The annoyance that I have with this is, I've talked about it, is the helper screen. Rather useless, but also the interface of the UI wasn't tested as well, I suppose, because you could see that there is about 8 tiles appearing, but then there's 2 that keeps edging. It's an OCD thing for me. I don't like it this way. Plus, it's also kind of bland to keep it at this screen, so it's always either on CarPlay or just the car's map, just so you have some graphics that are outside of just tiles. If I go on to the next screen, you can see the departing tiles are also showing up, and then the ones that are on the next screen are also edging in. I tried connecting to the internet thing that was the free trial, but it does not work. I made an account, I made a profile, it still doesn't work. So if I turn the hotspot on, it's the same idea. If I turn it off, it's the same idea. I don't know how to work this, and I don't care. To be honest, I was just playing with it to see. The helper screen has things that are just set in it. So these are the things that you will get in there, and it is always there unless you basically go and do the CarPlay, then it takes up the entire real estate. So if I go this route, this is the only screen that takes up the entirety. Otherwise, when you're using native car apps, it will have the helper screen come up to it. Outside of that, I think I've mentioned everything when it comes to what the interior has, except what I don't like is, again, the Honda HomeLink. So I am using the regular garage door opener because the HomeLink is now a dealer accessory, so you got to pay $385 to $400 for the dealer to install it, and it gets installed here. This car does not have that. A bummer, but that's fine. I can live with it. Not the worst idea there. Other than that, nothing else to mention in the front. If I'm forgetting anything or if there is something you folks want me to highlight, I'm happy to do that. Climbing out and then going back into the back, really. The car in particular, I enjoy it. It's my daily. Here's a highlight. The back also has the 3 level of heated seats there. No ventilated, but heated is also fine. Ample, crazy amount of legroom. This car has, so if I turn the lights on, it's also LED in the back too. I am 5'9". The front seats are set to my height. You could see the amount of space I have. It is obnoxiously well. You can cross your legs if need to be. So on the long haul, if you're only hauling 4 passengers, this car is going to be a lot more comfortable than even a CR-V, quite frankly. So a lot of space, a lot of legroom, decent sized headroom there too. With me being 5'9", it's decent for me. If you're like 6'4", might not be super great, but you can still be accommodated. In the back, you get both air and power. So you have vents, no third zone climate control, but this is connected to the driver, and then 2 USB-Cs there. The car absolutely has no USB-As. It has a 12-volt socket in here, and then 4 USB-Cs in total. Map pocket is here, but not for the driver. Other than that, the back, call it simple, call it dull, call it dark. That's what it is, but it's fairly comfortable. I do like how the Accords this generation feels on the inside. Feels very premium, almost edges into how a premium car would be. I've done the review of the TLX 2023 A-Spec. I've done the review of my car in detail. I'm bringing another one too as the year closest. You can compare if you're looking at the 23 Accords and TLXs. You could see you're getting very similar things in both, except the engine. The Acura is no longer sharing the same platform as the Honda. They're cousins, but they're no longer siblings. So Acura TLX is a different car when it comes to how the performance would be versus how the Honda Accord is. But both cars are fairly decent in what they offer. It's totally up to you to decide what you prefer when it comes to what is important to you with your money. As I climb out, the car itself, I love it. I do. I've made the decision of buying it, by way of making sure that I keep this car for, you know, a couple of years and then move on from it or what have you. But what's my verdict when it comes to you folks comparing this with K5, the Sonata, the Camry? Like I said, to me, Honda Accord and Toyota Camry go in the same bucket, and then Kia K5 and Hyundai Sonata will go in a different bucket. I do not compare those cars together or neck to neck, even though that's what the world sees it or how it does. But as an individual, comparing things, sitting inside of those cars, the build quality, the longevity, and also just in general what they're offering versus what they're not, to me, Honda, Toyota will be always more superior than Kia and Hyundai. But that is, again, my preference as an individual. You can certainly trash that. You don't have to be like, I am saying this because I think Honda is better or Toyota is better, and they're not. That's totally fine. It's your opinion, just like how it is mine. So if you want to buy those cars, or if you own those cars and you absolutely love it, that is amazing to hear, just how I like my Hondas versus my Toyotas. I've had Toyotas in the past too. $40,000, $28,000 starting price for both now, the Accord and the Camry, and then I believe Sonata and the K5 might be the same or a tick or two less. Go right ahead and compare all four cars. Drive them, feel the quality, look at NHTSA for recalls, compare the longevity, and also just keep in mind how many Sonatas, Optimas, before the K5 name, versus how many Camrys and Accords do you see on the road. Not talking about the last 3-4 years, talking about 10 or previous years. That talks about the reliability of these brands, and also the fact that if you buy something now for the same price, you will probably keep it for longer than those cars. That is what I've seen generally. But I've also had a cousin who bought a 2003 Hyundai Elantra, kept it for 10 years, and then bought a 2013 Honda Civic after that. Now he has a family, he drives a Toyota Highlander, but I've seen an Elantra go that far too. But you don't see as many 2003 Elantras on the road anymore as you see 2003 Accords perhaps, or the Camry, or anything else really. So the whole idea of doing this video was basically recapping what the Accord is offering you. So if you are in the market or coming up in the market of 2024 to kind of go over what you should buy, I say you shortlist it and go right ahead and test drive it, as opposed to just looking at this video or any other videos and be like, I don't like the shape of it or I don't like the size of it, but I want it in the Accord. So go right ahead and test it. If you are buying a car that needs to absolutely look beautiful from the exterior, then this car might not be it. But if you're buying a car because you are someone that drives daily and you want something reliable and you don't super care about whether it has, you know, I don't know, ventilated seats in the back, or whether it has this, that for the same price, or folding mirrors because let's say Sonata does, or let's say K5 does, then it might be a difficult choice. But if you are ruling a car out, I say you rule out after you've tested it, not just watch the videos for it, or, you know, just read reviews on it. Read the reviews, watch the videos, but also go test it for yourself and then rule it out. 23 minutes long for this video. Thank you for staying with the recap. There are more cars I'm going to be posting as the new year starts. But on that note, I hope and wish that everyone has the great 2024 year that is coming up. Any problems or anything that you folks are dealing with, I hope that they all get resolved. I hope we all have a great, happy, healthy 2024. Until next video, folks, which I'll post in the next year, take care and have a happy New Year's to all of you that are watching, to all of you that will watch it next year. I hope you all have a great year. Stay safe. Until next video, take care, everybody.